and welcome to the Vegan Stew. I don't remember the last time we were on. January? February? No, it had to be after February. So maybe March, somewhere in there. So we are back, and it's going to be super fun to talk about whatever we're going to talk about. And when we haven't been on for a few months, you never know what we're going to say, which is super, just the way we are. So thank you to Unisoy Jerky for sponsoring our lives for the month of July. It is the last day of July, and tomorrow there will be a new sponsor for when I go live with the 5 lives with the highlights of the sponsors and the vendors. So that's coming too. Let's see if you have any comments or questions. Put them in the little box and we will respond to them. Please hit subscribe if you're on YouTube and the notification bell. Please like, follow, share all our social media so you can see what we're doing all year round. We have amazing people on the Stew crew that you want to know. Promise. All right, let's get started. We got Marla LaRose from Vegan Street. Tonight we've got Ellen Jaffe Jones, the veg coach, realtor extraordinaire, and broken finger. All right. So we don't necessarily we don't have any topic whatsoever except for catch up. And
we're not gonna let that stop us. Yeah.
I don't know. Has it really been 4 months? It's really 4
so.
months. 4 months have gone by that fast.
Oops. Time flies when you're having fun or not.
I know. I mean, oops. So let's see. A lot has happened. Let's start in reverse and go, who has a cat? Who's a cat?
Hey,
but I'm not childless. I'm not childless.
Right? I have cats.
Oh, I see where you're going with that. I was like, what?
Hi, Stacey. Thanks for joining us.
Stacey's awesome.
Right. Who has a dog? 3 of them. Right? Right. So let's see. We're gonna vote, and we're gonna support other people in voting. And as much as we can talk politics on the show, and you can comment to do whatever you want, but I wanted Biden to drop out of the race. I was actually sending text messages and stuff because I watched the debate for about 15 minutes, and I got so frustrated. Painful. It was painful. It was super duper painful to watch an old man not be able to talk and defend himself or debate or do anything, and then watch the other man who's also super old appear strong, lying but appearing very strong, and might I say presidential. And that was my turning
point. No, that's too far. That's a bridge too far.
It was not the words that were presidential, but it was the strength,
the demeanor,
the demeanor comparatively. Oh, so awful. So I also didn't want Kamala to be the pick because my concern was our country is not ready. And that might be proven wrong.
But the polls are doing pretty well at this point.
Having a 59-year-old in as president is way more appealing than an almost 80-year-old man who's a psychopath and autocrat and future dictator.
Not him. Yeah.
Right.
I think watching that, I walked in at the beginning, and then I just immediately walked out. My anxiety went to the next level because it was clear from the onset that Biden was not well. There was something I don't want to cast aspersions on him because I actually feel like he's done a really good job as president, and I think he deserves that acknowledgement. But there was this feeling of watching him, even that 20 seconds or whatever I could handle, that reminded me of seeing my mom when she had dementia. It just that kind of confusion, and it was very difficult to see. And all I wanted was for it to be over and to change.
Yeah, I could not. I'm 15 minutes. I was like, this is just awful. But there were some issues with a lot of people in the vegan community, to bring it back to veganism and to intersectionality, and the fact that we want Palestine to be saved and the people in Gaza to stop being killed, that he was not getting those people's vote at all. Like, a lot of young people just had no interest in him whatsoever for the Israel Palestine reason. And there was just, I don't know, I think they was just not going to vote, because I don't believe they were going to vote.
Yeah.
Or they're going to go vote third party for an anti-vax. Like,
I think people weren't feeling it,
right?
Yeah.
So no one was feeling it.
Yeah.
Well, Kamala has done a much better job of saying, actually saying the words of, the killing of the people in Gaza is horrible. It's terrible. This needs to stop. That is a game changer. In my opinion, that's a game changer. And, for the vegan community, people, intersectionality, people who care about what happens to people who are being bombed and killed because, for whatever reason you want to say, but at this point, I believe it's overkill, pun intended.
Oh God, months ago.
Right. That, and understand, I'm Jewish. Marla's Jewish. So, and that's kind of where we're coming from. Like, I can support Israel and I can not like what they're doing in the same body.
And I can be Jewish and not support Israel. Right. I mean,
that too.
Or the president, the politicians they have in place running the show.
It's for antithetical to what I understand Judaism to be about.
Right.
And I feel like there was an audible relief when enough people finally got through to Biden. I think it wasn't just the situation in Gaza. I think it was just like, we are tired of the present, established. This was what we want something new, and so I think that's going to be great for her. I mean, she's got a lot of vitality and charisma. She's got a lot of people standing behind her. She's incredibly smart and accomplished. Those of us who just watched Trump in front of the black
I didn't watch it yet, but I saw the headline.
Oh, it's so bad. I watched the Journalists of the Association of the United States. He came
the Association of Black Journalists.
Yes, exactly. I was just screwing up the order a little bit, but since it was in Chicago, I was like, I'm going to watch that. But I mean, nothing that he hasn't done before. Lying every time he's opening his mouth, being incredibly aggressive and rude, and manipulative and cruel and all those things. But anytime he has a chance to do that, I think that's probably a good thing. Yeah, I really hope that happens.
I really hope that happens too.
It ain't gonna happen. I don't think.
It'll happen. It'll definitely happen.
People were surprised
he's running so far away from that because, she'll just, like she said, she knows his mind
without breaking a sweat, and that's
that
the thing, is that like
TV.
Hillary could have
totally.
So much baggage, but
just even the still pictures of them on all the things that I've been seeing, his picture compared to hers, it's like there's no contest. And I hate to say it, but from a media consulting standpoint, which I did for a lot of years, she's got it hands down just by that thumbnail that people often make their decisions by.
Yeah, I mean, she's everything he's not, in terms of. And of course that inflames his base, and that, he's not expanding it at all. I can't imagine he's reaching too many independents or whatever. I don't know.
I mean, questioning her ethnicity, it didn't work for
it's like he's
Obama,
never heard.
It's not going to work for her.
Yeah, well, doing it in front of Black journalists, but then. Have they never heard of the concept of being biracial? I mean, like I've only known Kamala Harris as someone who is biracial. I never thought of her as only of Indian descent, which is what he was trying to claim today, is that that's how she depicted herself.
Yeah, I heard there were gasps and shock in the audience, which I haven't watched it yet, but
it was so funny.
I would
nothing like, I mean, I don't know if this is problematic to say or not, but there's nothing like a Black audience because they are so engaged. You know what I mean? Like, as opposed to the white people who like sit there politely, they were just laughing, and it was wonderful.
I sang Up with people in my college years, and we would sing in Baptist churches in the South, and they were just always interacting with us. This is before social media was a thing. They just spoke their minds, sang their minds, and it was wild. It was crazy.
Yeah. One of the coolest experiences I had was going to a Baptist church for my master's degree. I needed to go do some intersectional type stuff, and it was a concert. It was, and like you see in the movies, people running up and down the aisles with their arms up and stuff. 100%. I was like, this is amazing. What an amazing thing to, like experience that day. And of course, like the sermon touched me, that, and then that was really, I did not know. I did not know that I was walking into a concert with like 500 people, whatever it was. It was really wild.
Yeah.
But all right, so we can check politics off. Check politics off of catching up, because that's probably the most prevalent.
Yeah, I mean, I hope the momentum continues, and
I think it will.
I just think people are so tired of him.
Well, I mean, I hope so. I hope there's the cult is the cult, and and racism and bigotry is racism and bigotry, and we live in that, and it's going to be. Wait, what's this? I'm saying one last thing. White women for Kamala Zoom this Sunday night. Oh, thank you, Stacey.
Yeah, as long as they're not on Twitter. You heard about that, right?
But he kicked
men's thing. He kicked.
Musk
kicked 200,000 or 300,000.
Yeah, right. They raised so much money, and
right.
Elon Musk kicked them off Twitter for some reason. Right. I don't know. It was like white men for or something. I don't remember.
Well, that's going to be the next. Thankfully, it's less than 100 days of dealing with this.
You're right, and I think that was like, I have been dreading this election for a very long time. It's always so hard, because people get nasty, and myself included. I get irritated. I get short-tempered. But one of the things that just sticks in my, I have a lot of friends who are very far to the left, who are like, they vote, like, so far, like, if they vote at all, tend to vote third party. And, I did that with Ralph Nader back in the day because I'm in a safe state for that kind of thing. But I do feel like there is this mentality that reminds me a little bit of when I worked at an animal shelter that was a full service shelter. So they did euthanize, but there was this kind of attitude from the quote unquote no kill shelters that had to turn away 95% or more of the animals in the 1990s that weren't because they weren't highly adoptable. There's this kind of attitude of, oh, no blood on my hands. I didn't do this, while they're pushing it onto, they can only work to, the only way that the no-kill shelters can function at their best is with full-service shelters that can offer every option and at least get them off the streets, And so I kind of feel like there's an analogy there with the people who vote third party and say, hey, no blood on my hands. I didn't vote for her. Somebody has to stop tyranny, right? I mean, like, it's fine for me to just sit there and like vote for Ruby May as my presidential choice and say no blood on my hands. But just don't think that that's very fair, because we all have a role.
We all have a role, and it's not just about president. When you're voting for more than just the president. You're voting for
like
your
local
politicians, Well, no, I mean, you're voting for your local politicians. You're voting for the Senate. You're voting for Congress. You're voting for governor, depending on the state. Like we have a absolutely lunatic for governor in North Carolina. I mean, lunatic. If you haven't heard of Robinson, go check him out. He's a lunatic. So, I mean, but he has a chance of winning. And if he wins our state as governor and we have a super majority, wait, my state becomes like Florida, but worse. Like move out of the state.
That's what I'm saying is you can't just it frustrates me because I am an idealist as well. Like, I'm not like, just whatever, just give me a Democrat. I'm happy to say, I would too, Stacey, of course. She'd be very loud, but scare everyone away from the bargaining table. But my point is, it's not okay just to clap your hands and just say whatever happened, and it's also not fair to depict those of us who are trying to work with compromised candidates who are imperfect but have so much more potential than someone like a Trump. But my other issue is, if you don't like what we have every 4 years, if you want viable third-party candidates, if you want a whole different system of government, you have to build that. You don't show up every 4 years and start wagging your fingers at those of us who are trying to work within this. It seems very unfair and unrealistic, and I also,
it's more than just president.
Yeah,
your local politics impact you more than federal politics. If you don't understand that by now, you need to understand that. It affects your taxes, it affects your school system, it affects your roads, infrastructure, it affects everything where you live.
All politics is local.
Yes, and those people, the ones that rise in the ranks to become like the people who vote, you can vote for federally. I mean, we need Congress to be more sane so that the president can actually do something. President can't make laws.
Right.
The president doesn't make laws. He just votes to have them approved or vetoes them. Let me see what this.
Sovereign trying to get in.
Yeah, I see that. I'll take care of that. You guys talk.
Yeah. I don't remember. I had something on the tip of my tongue, but I don't remember what it was. But it was something about it's not enough just to sit back and blame others for what we have. Like, I am fine actually working with the lesser evil, or whatever you want to call it. To me, there's like a huge gulf between someone like Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, and this false equivalency of putting them together is irritating and irrational, but yeah, I don't know. But I'm looking forward to the next few months. I think it's going to be great. I
think it really is going to be energizing for a lot of people who were otherwise going to sit on the sidelines, for sure. And, you have to excite, especially the younger generation, because this planet is in their hands. And there's so much, it's like, where do you start kind of thing. But
yeah. And I think they were feeling
with leadership at the top from somebody who is agreeable to not being a dictator, I think is just super important. Let's just start there.
You've got such high standards, Ellen. We're so broken down here in the United States. Please don't be a dictator. I totally
not a lot
hear
to
you.
ask for. It's just not a lot to ask for. And
who would think, right, that we'd even be talking about this? It's like,
let alone we're all going to the mines just for having this conversation. So if we're gonna do Handmaid's Tale, we're not making babies So we're gonna end up someplace else. Auburn's gonna join us in a second. So that's awesome. I see. So what if I well, if you know me, you know I've been to Disney because that's, I'm obsessed. But I've become obsessed with something new. And that is
Oh,
called pickleball, which is
oh,
like
I've heard of pickleball.
the fastest growing sport, like game in the world, and I love it.
Is
I
it an Olympic
love it.
sport yet?
It probably will become one. If ping pong is, this should be.
Right. Definitely.
It is
Well, it's big here in
really.
Florida, so you'll have to move here, I guess.
Yay,
Oh well, it's
Stacy!
big everywhere. I play pickleball too. That's awesome, Stacey. I have been going. I've been not only that I've been playing, but I've been playing. Like I went Tuesday night and I played for like an hour and 20+ minutes straight.
Wow.
It is a
Does it
great
have to be
workout.
with 4 people?
Is it what?
Does it have to be with like 4 people, or how does that work? Okay.
It does.
Nice.
It does have to be with 4 people, but you can. Hey, Sovereign, but you can. You go to the rec centers like I go to, and there's people there who are just playing. I mean,
Right.
and
You
you
just
just play
join
with
the
all
game
different. You just play with all. You get to meet new people. I think it's 2000. We had an indoor club that's had it since 2000. I know I'm super late to this pickleball game. I'm very
It
aware.
got
It's
really
never
popular
too late.
Right. And I went up to New York and my brother's friends have a pickleball court in their backyard. Like
Oh,
I don't
wow.
mean like I mean like full on lights, like gorgeous. And I watched
Oh,
them
wow.
play for 2.5 hours and I knew I would be good at it. I knew I
So
would.
does it look kind of like I've never even watched it.
It's
Does
a
it look
cross
kind of like
between
a
tennis and
combination between
badminton.
tennis and volleyball? Okay, yeah, okay.
It's
Yeah.
like it's very much like ping pong. It's
Okay.
except you go over a net and it's much faster
What's
than
so cool
badminton.
about it?
It's
It's easy to play.
It is easy.
You
It's
don't have
all
to be.
ages, from kids to right. You don't have to be, as they say, you don't have to be sporty. I
Sporty
mean,
Spice?
I'm playing with people who are younger than me to 70+ years of age. It's just, it is, you're not
And it is.
overly running, but you're still active. And
Mhm.
it's with a wiffle ball. So like the
You're not
waffle
gonna
ball,
get
I guess
hurt.
you could say. The pickleball is plastic, so it's not really going to hurt. You're not hitting it hard enough to really like. It's not like racquetball
Oh
where
God, those things scare
I,
me. Jesus
I could
Christ.
really
No, my
hurt somebody.
I mean,
instinct if a ball is coming at me is to get out of the way. It's not to go toward it.
yeah, but
Right.
it's not that hard. I mean, my orthopedic surgeon says he loves it because he gets a lot of. That's his main source of revenue is the pickleball injuries. But it's usually people who just are overdoing it and maybe treating it, thinking it's like tennis, when really all you got to do is kind of just stand there and make sure it doesn't drop in your
right.
square.
Right.
Or something.
Equipment. Right shoes. Because the ball is a pickleball, and you have a cute little racket, and you want to have shoes that are tennis like pickleball shoes. So you can go lateral because running shoes are for going straight.
Right.
As Ellen would know, but you don't wear your running shoes when you're playing pickleball because you could really hurt your ankles.
And they do sell them separately in the running stores.
Yep.
But I was on a plane to the National Senior Games like in 2016, and the flight attendant gets on the microphone. We want to welcome all the contestants who are going to the National Senior Games and the Florida State pickleball team. And the whole plane was filled with pickleball players. So because it is in the National Senior Games for those over 50, I do suspect that it is actually already an Olympic sport because they use the same sports that the real Olympics do.
Oh, that's so
Speaking
cool.
of which, have you been watching gymnastics? I had 3 daughters who did gymnastics, and I used to get sweaty palms when they would do cartwheels on the balance beam because as a kid, I could hardly get up on the balance beam. And to see what these women are doing with their bodies is just, and the men, it's really great respect for the human body, for sure.
I know, especially like comparing it to like watching it when I was a kid and like seeing where they are now and like the extra passes that they're doing on the floor because it used to be like 2 or 3
Right.
and now it's 4 and it's less artistry than it was when I was younger. But
Right.
I mean, you see the height that someone
more
got
athletic.
in one of her passes.
Yeah, John was saying it was like 11 feet up or something.
It was. I watched the whole
like,
final for the women's all around for the team all around. It was just amazing. And they killed it. I mean, they really killed it. It was very, I'm not very patriotic. It just isn't who I am, but I was very proud, to like watch them. I know how hard it is to like work for something and then watch it all come together, especially when last time she had to pull out because she was injured. And it's not, the team isn't just her, because they were all amazing. They all had their special.
And they've really been focusing on the mental health too. That's why she stopped competing previously, and to kind of recognize that you have to deal with that. It is mind over matter sometimes, and you have to kind of confront those demons.
Right.
Exactly.
And the anger at the people who were protecting that predator in the gymnastics world,
Yeah.
Yes. If only there weren't predators everywhere you turn, and you can't really know who they are because they're super good at hiding it. I was just watching a show. Yeah, I was just watching a show.
It's cool.
That was, talking about a husband that had all this child pornography, and it's like super weird. Let me see. I'm going to start training now so I can win some gold medals. Senior games when I turn 50. That's awesome, Stacey. That's fantastic. Well, you go.
Just drifting off. Yes. You're so funny. You're like, I was watching this show about this wife whose husband had all this pornography.
I know. I was like, it's just like bad people. You just don't know who they are,
That's
and that's the scary part about humans.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
So scary part about humans. Sovereign, what's been going on? Unmute and talk to us.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey. Hi. Just just life. The kiddo start school tomorrow.
Oh, nice. Is it a new school for them?
No, it's the same school. But they are they were third, fourth grade last year. So they're both fourth grade, fourth, fifth this year. And in integrated classes, and their schedules have completely changed. So they have a lot of new cool classes that have been added. They have a longer schedule, so it's like from 8 to 4 instead of like 8 to 2. But it's great because that 2 to 4 bracket is what the school has therapy time. So ABA therapy for kids, speech therapy, OT, which is fantastic, so that the kids are done. Oh, wow. Helen, my picture. I'm not quite sure.
Sorry. Oh, I am so sorry.
Why are you copying Sovereign?
I don't know. My avatar popped up.
I just stopped the video and it popped up because I got to go potty. So you guys carry on. And it's Sovereign.
Okay.
That is it's going to be a long day for you, Sovereign, about the kids. That's like such a huge amount of time.
Well, it's normally like that, but normally sometimes it's scattered, so it'll be like 8 to 2:30, and then there may be a half an hour break, and then 3 o'clock there's therapy, and then a break, and then things like that. That's how it used to be, and it was really either they would have it back to back. It used to be lunchtime, and then it would be like 3 o'clock, and then like 4 o'clock, and now they made it easier because it's like this is the bracket, they won't go past that time. They even have like another one that's like so during the lunch period that the kids can have. But it's really convenient, I think, for all parents that do have children who are within the special needs, or the integrated classes of the hybrid, the special needs and regular general courses. But they are they're semi-excited. They're like, hooray. And then they realize, well, personal tablets and phones are going away, and they're just like, I hate you. But they're somewhat excited. I'm excited for them. I'm just getting around to like working on myself and still doing some healing. And
are you still doing your big Halloween ball?
Yes, I am going to be doing that and shifting it for 2025. Everything is still pretty much the same. But
we want to sponsor.
Nice.
Oh my God, I would love for you. I can't talk right now. I'm like, oh my God, that would be amazing. I have to get right back on the ball because, haha, but I'm pun. I have to get back on the ball to get the ball rolling because, much to my surprise, and like, in spite of everything that was happening, that I was going through and things like that, and it's I was getting a little nervous because I was like, well, it's getting so close to before everything transpired that I had to deal with personal wise. I was like, well, it's getting close. No tickets are being sold yet. Should I leave this up? I really don't know. And then May popped up and there's like tickets sold. I'm like, well, wait.
Oh God. Wow.
Yeah. So I had to just let people know that I'm giving them a choice. I was talking to the rest of my team, and I think what will be cool is that anybody who is actually just pretty much they bought an advance ticket because everything is the same. The dates for next year, they will get an upper tier. So whatever level that they get the perks of the tier above them, because it will still cut, like the early bird was still cut, but it's been great to have the support for people who, the artist and everybody else on the team.
It's going to be so great.
I'm so excited. And then we'll do the middle of the summer. We're going to be doing New York, New Jersey, and
in 25.
In 25, and then March we're doing California. I can't give any details away. That one's kind of hush, and like really hush. But I'm keeping all of my, my wings crossed that this part for specifically for March really works out, because it would be amazing catapult for just the ball and getting it out there, because it has a lot to do with a lot of inclusivity and around this particular project. So I've been working on that. The boys are just been shooting up like crazy. They're 10 and 11 now, and
wow,
just trees. And besides, just that's been pretty much it. That I've been trying to slow down, working on self, doing a lot of medical things that I still have that I'm working on. A couple of surgeries coming up throughout the end of the year, but other than that, just trying to keep busy and trying to keep positive and and things like that. And been watching the Olympics, and our Peter Parker that was on the pommel horse, fantastic gymnast.
I keep hearing about that. I need to look at that. I don't know.
He's a beautiful thing.
It blew everyone's minds.
Yeah, he wasn't good enough to do all of everything. So because he couldn't make the team if he became an all-around gymnast, he focused on the pommel horse and became an expert at it. And specialized in it and made the team just for that. And
that's more typical.
Really. Yeah, and he did the routine that made it so they won the bronze
for the first time
in like 19 years.
Yeah, since 2008, and he has a disability. He has sight issues. So when he takes off his glasses, he's pretty much blind. They were showing how he trains. He feels the wood and feels the pommel horse. So everything is by touch.
Wow.
And it was just so beautiful to watch, just to see the diversity of the time this year. He's just the most sweetest little thing too. And
I know, super cute.
So cute. But yeah, that's
very diverse team.
Very diverse.
Very diverse.
Princess, stop.
Puppy. Stop. All right, so I guess let's talk about something vegan, since we talked about nothing that even comes close to it, and it is the vegan stew. I
have something interesting to talk about. Since everyone here is either an event organizer, has spoken at many events, is going to be an event organizer. Have you guys heard much about the what was it called? The one in Chicago, Vegandale.
Right.
Have you heard much?
Right. I saw your post or somebody's post.
Yeah, I had to post about it because they're so exploitative. I mean, I don't know them personally or anything like that, but John and Vegandale's been to Chicago, like, I don't know, 10 times maybe or something like that. And the last time we went was a few years ago. John doesn't like it. He thinks it's just like a cash grab and there's not much excitement around it. But every year that we went like 2 or 3 times. It just seemed like less and less of an interest in it. But anyway, this year there was
They changed the way they changed their model this year. They changed their model to you pay a fee and then they get a percentage of sales from the venue from the vendors.
Right.
And that made it so like some of the big vendors that used to travel with them will not sign up and be with them because they feel like it's a cash grab because of the percentage and the dollars amount that they want. And then the attendees needed to
wear the wristbands.
I hate this model. The attendees needed to to get the card or whatever to buy stuff. They couldn't buy things directly from the vendors. So the money all went to Vegandale, and from my understanding, they haven't paid their vendors.
Right. I mean, they may have at this point, but it was at least a few weeks. And many of the vendors are kind of, not rolling in the dough, if so they invested a lot.
They need that money to sign up for the next event.
Yeah. I mean, when we had Vegan Mania, people cashed out the same day. Like, it made for a long night, but that's what it was, and we certainly didn't take 33% in addition to a table fee. But the other thing is that there was
fee. Yeah.
What's that?
An expensive table fee.
There was not access to the water that they claimed there would be. There was not hand washing stations outside of the bathrooms. Apparently, the wristband thing was such a nightmare because people weren't always aware of how much money was in their account, and so they would be standing in line for. It didn't make the line process any quicker. So people would be standing in line for like 45 minutes, an hour or more, get to the end of the line. They'd be like, sorry, you can't give, you don't have any money in your, then they'd have to get into a whole different line to add more money to their account. And it was also boiling and they didn't have shade stations set up or cooling stations or anything like that. So it just sounds like a pretty naked, like, give us your money, shut up, go away.
Wasn't there an issue with the stage? Wasn't there an issue with people getting hurt?
There was a stampede on Sunday. I mean, it was a minor stampede, but there was a stampede because
minor stampede, small stampede.
it was the
stampede.
Well, first of all, the talent on stage started like a couple of hours later. So first of all, Saturday was the boiling day. So we thought like Sunday it was supposed to be more comfortable, so it would be less chaotic and all of that. So, but I just kept reading all the accounts from it. So they're doing this thing where they're trying to attract all these people to it who have no connection to veganism but wanted to see the bands, or the talent. So there was some kind of an altercation in the front row while one of the performers was up, and she was addressing it, but did it in kind of a vague way, which made people think that there was gunshots. And then when people started running and knocking things over, it sounded like gunshots. So anyway, and EMTs were there all day helping people who had heat exhaustion. But then with that, there were people who fainted because of the heat and the stress and all that. So anyway, nightmare. And enough that the city of Chicago wants to speak to them.
Yes.
Well, it sounds like there were a few health code violations there, especially with the bathrooms and sanitation and all that.
I'm confused.
Okay.
So I'm sorry, you Marla, you were cutting out briefly. So I caught that it was Vegandale, but this was outside, right?
Yes.
Okay. And this was a veg fest?
It's Vegandale, which is probably a bit different from it's a vegan festival with music
Right,
and a stage.
Okay.
They're
And
just
like
all vendors, right?
a lot of vendors, 100 plus. I think it was definitely smaller this year because a lot of the vendors refused to sign up.
Okay.
They don't get a lot of
So they should. Okay. So so we're gonna be so with every single ball that we do, there is on the third day, like the last day, there is Voth. So after the ball and after the party, like the after party on Sunday, we are doing Voth. Like there is a Voth. It's not necessarily a fest, but it's more of like a not a bazaar, but like it starts with an E. Like we have the whole thing like for what it is because there's already performances that are happening way beforehand. We do have a DJ that's there, but it's held in due to things that you're looking at where it can't be. Because they're like mini versions, and we were all like my team were thinking we were like that's the best thing to do, especially as of right now, because yes, it's very stressful. You're dealing with a lot of vendors. You can't say, especially for doing a first one, if you're having like 100 or more, it's not easy. Helen, you're running Fetch Fest. All of us here know we either ran festivals, we've been part of it, having a sampling, or even doing the first ones. So you have to look out for your vendors. We are going to be doing sanitation stations be there. There's water stations that are going to be for every single person who has a table there, regardless of yes, every single thing has to be vegan. It does have to fit the theme of what we were doing for that ball, but everything is vegan, be it sampling of food, anything like that. Providing food for the vendors that are there, letting them know if they have somebody who is on their site that does not, would not, what do you call it, be open to vegan food, they have to eat out. You cannot have it any here, but you know fully well that I am full on ethical and no, I will not give my coin that we're doing for this if you're going to do that. We don't want to, we're not laughing at them, but it's very much in the contract and everything. And they'll respect it. If they don't, then they have to go ahead outside, close their section down and go and eat outside of that. But you have to have that where it's not going to be where you have people passing out. You're not going to have, you can't take money from these people who are going to be vendors for your event and then just like throw them to the wolves and just out there and not protecting or part of it. You are just taking their money. You're not making any of us look good, regardless if we're an event organizer or just part of the community itself. You're putting out a bad name for us, so it's like being it's ridiculous.
Yeah. That's the thing. If it sucks for vendors, it sucks for the user experience, and it's not promoting veganism in any kind of positive light. What is the good of it? It's just a cash grab, And that's it really became very clear this year. That's what it's all about, with this particular event.
I heard all about it before that article came out.
I bet you did.
Yes. I mean, just there's some things that I don't like that happen at festivals, but I will say that the concept of a percentage of sales, they're not the only ones doing it.
No, we do it too with Veganmania. For food. Yeah.
Jessica Vegan Street Fair, not for the attendees, for the vendors only. Percentage of sales. Jessica Vegan Street Fair is doing that too. And I've heard all the feedback, and I've heard like what they're doing and how they're doing it. And I've created a better way. Go figure.
So when are you coming to Chicago?
I don't need to come to Chicago, but for my festivals in 2025, I'm working on that. And actually, one of my meetings I had today.
Nice. To come to Chicago?
To do a better way of that system, a percentage of sales from the vendors. One that will make it much easier for them.
Is with Veganmania, our vendors were always, there's always going to be a little issue here and there, but our food vendors were really happy with the exchange between us, never got complaints about that. Nobody felt ripped off, so.
What percentage did you do?
I don't remember. I'm sorry. I was not involved with that aspect of it. I know our table fee was very low. I mean? It was pretty nominal.
And I know that my publisher, Bob, wouldn't go to events unless, they would at least break even or try to.
Yeah. We only took from
that, they did fine.
Is Bob going to Naperville? Do you know? Or the
I have no idea. I haven't heard anything from them probably in over a year.
Really?
COVID pretty much shut everything down. They aren't, I mean, they haven't been doing cookbooks for a long time, publishing cookbooks.
They came to my
But
festival in Atlanta last year.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, they came to
And
Atlanta
I
last
think,
year.
I was supposed to go to Nashville this year, and they were going to that. I did actually take that back. I did hear from them on that.
Nashville?
But
What's in Nashville?
there was a veg
Jenny
fest. Or
Jenny
I'm
Brown's,
sorry,
right?
bluegrass.
Yeah.
Oh,
Louisville.
Kentucky, Louisville.
Yeah,
That's a great
Yeah,
event.
that was Jenny Brown from formerly
Yeah.
of Woodstock.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right.
I heard it was
Yeah,
great.
that's a great event. It's a great event every year. Highly recommend if someone's going to go to Louisville. I wish I could get to all these. I really want to attend them and not just,
Yeah.
do them. Because even though
So in
attendees
other
are doing.
breaking vegan news, I did finally place in my 300th, now at 303, 5K or longer race for my age group. We had a big
Congratulations.
celebration locally, and
Wow.
just never really thought I'd get there. But
Of course, how can
the
you not get
problem
there?
is, well, because it's getting much more expensive. I mean, $50 just to run a little 3-mile 5K race.
Right.
And that
Seems
doesn't
like a
even
racket.
include the other expenses.
Right, that
Well,
metal, you
the
can't sell those
expenses.
metals for cash.
Right.
Melt them down.
But the expenses, the main thing that the race directors tell me that they're paying for is security, and with police, and then making sure the route is safe. Just the cost of everything is
Everything
going up.
does cost a lot more than people assume. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like as Lean knows, as it's just
And insurance is the big one, because there have been incidents and somebody's got to pay, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it definitely is going to get sent. You have to sign up early, see if they have any incentives to sign up early.
Yeah, they often do, but then, it's really frustrating then if something comes up and you can't compete, and then you just lose that money.
Right.
So
even though you paid less. So
Yeah.
you wait and you pay more, which is exactly what
Right.
happens with like attendees and
Right.
with vendors and all that.
Right.
You can't commit to that lower price. I need to
Right.
fix that too.
Right.
So I don't really know what's been going on like in the vegan world. I really have over the past 4 months. I will say that it's strange. Like things are strange. Weather is strange, and part of the reason that I do what I do is because there's climate change, and one of the best ways to counter and save our planet is to follow a vegan diet and save the animals, save the planet, and save your health. But I think we're actually past the point of no return at this point, and weather is making outdoor festivals horrendous.
Yeah, I would never do one.
Just horrendous. And I used to at least have some consistency or some idea of like I can be on this date and I have a really good chance of it being okay. I have no dates that can be okay.
Yeah.
There's not a single day that anything can happen where there might not be an issue. Whether it's heat, storms, cold. I mean, in June 2nd in Asheville, it was cold and wet. June, it was cold and wet. And then, hi, pumpkin.
Pumpkin.
And then, super hot in Colombia. And, people don't come out. And I've been pretty much writing in my newsletter that I need you to come out. Like, I need you to support our vendors. I need you to support us. I need to support any vegan festival that's out there. And all these small businesses need us. Otherwise, they won't be there anymore. And I'm not just talking food, because, you'll eat food, but I mean, the people that are selling products that you like, buy them, shop them, come to the festival, meet them. Don't I get that some of you have to travel a little bit. I get that it's hot out. I mean, it's summer. It's supposed to be hot. It just happens to be the hottest it's ever been on the planet. And guess what?
Until next summer.
This is the bottom. It's only going to go up. So you might as well start getting used to it and wear sunscreen and live in air conditioning. It's just, I can't beg enough for people to support us and support the vendors.
We've had a few vegan restaurants close in the area.
Since I've been there?
Tampa, St. Pete, Sarasota.
Yeah.
It's hard. Yeah. That's very hard.
It's really, I mean, it's super. So I went to New York, I don't know, June, July. I don't even know when I went. And I went to Port Jefferson, and I wanted to see what was still there because I hadn't been in a very long time. And there's a place called Salsa, which I used to go eat at. And I know when they open, and Port Jeff on Long Island there's a ferry that's on the water, it's on the Sound. You can go across to Connecticut. It's a very touristy area, so it comes with a little bit more expensive. Super cute, like the whole thing. And this restaurant was still there, and I was like, oh, let me look at the menu. I love looking at menus. And when I lived on Long Island, I was vegetarian. So they had this breakfast burrito. And I was like, oh, let's see where the breakfast burrito's at. It was like $8.75. And I was like,
that's
what?
Cheap, though, isn't it?
I know. How?
Okay, I was going to
say. How is a restaurant with rent and overhead and staffing, right? It's like a nicer than Chipotle, but same concept. You order. It's not sit-in dining.
Right, you just kind of pick out the thing.
It's under $9 for, and it's huge, and it comes with chips and salsa, so it comes with a side for under $9. And and it's Long Island, which is one of the most expensive places to live on the planet. So at least in this country. I don't know why. I actually think about writing to them and ask how are you able to keep your prices so low when that burrito in Raleigh, Durham would be at least $15.
I know. I just think a new place just opened near us that I probably won't go to because it's not vegan or vegetarian even, but it's like a new Thai place, and it's good to have options and stuff. I was just looking at the menu; it's like $16.95. It's just some little, it's not anything that looks exciting, but it does feel like 5 years ago, maybe, if you went to your average Thai restaurant, the prices for us would top out at like $9.95. You know what I mean? I just feel like it's gone so up. And I know that it's not just them jacking up the prices just to be like,
right.
But,
it's the price of food.
Yeah.
But then how can they sell the burrito with the tortilla, the cheese, the eggs, the salsa, the lettuce, the beans that all go into it for under $9?
Right.
And it's not like everything else on the menu was like super expensive, but how can they do that in a touristy area where I know the rent can't be cheap? And they've been there for a number of years. So maybe what I'm thinking is that on Long Island, for some reason, the landlords aren't greedy.
Yeah.
And they're charging a reasonable amount to rent these places out, because I think if you charge too much, like is happening all over, there's no one to fill that void. And you can gouge your tenants and then end up with an empty space, or you can give them reasonable rent and help them survive and have your space filled.
Yeah.
Because there are not tons of businesses looking to get into a business that's super hard and everyone's closing. And I'm not just talking vegan, I'm talking about a non-vegan restaurant. And I just, I'm still stuck on that. And I mean, I think about our food trucks whose prices are like super expensive. And, the cost, you can buy something at a food truck that's like $30. And I'm just like,
oh my God.
I know that price can come down. And I kind of believe that you can do a quantity number. And I want to talk to one of my food truck vendors more in detail and go into their numbers a little bit deeper to see if it's possible.
Right.
If you lowered your price, Ellen, you're really loud.
Sorry.
If you lower your price, then you can
sell more.
Yeah. And when you sell more, you make money. And I'm not saying lower your price where it's stupid. Got you. But lower your price where you can make money.
Yeah. I'm getting sick of every day because I know it's just not as much as it doesn't need to be as high as it is. Even like a few dollars down. I'm always happy to tip, but I'm not happy to tip if somebody's just like the other day, a few months ago, I was ordering a cake online for a birthday. and the person on the phone just asked, would you like to leave a tip? It's like, you just took my order. I'm not doing that. There was already a $90 cake, because like vegan, gluten-free, all the stuff, I'm just like, for you writing down what over the phone.
Well, actually, I don't think the tip was for her. I think the tip was for the people making the cake. For everybody there.
There was both. I gave a tip for the baker and the baker's assistant and stuff like that. And then the person and it's just like, come on, it's enough. It's enough. I mean, I think that establishments need to pay their workers better. That's what it comes down to. Not everything should be offloaded onto us,
No, but when you pay people more money, then cost of food and whatever you're buying is higher.
It's fine.
So you're going to see it. I mean, I just don't believe that the employees should have to hustle to do that.
No, I'm all for giving good tips. I'm just saying, like, if somebody, all she did was take my order over the phone.
Right. There's no tip there.
That doesn't seem fair. No,
I guess, if she gets it right.
When I pick up, what's that?
You get the cake and it says, Happy Boy Day, Marta.
I give tips when I pick up food. I give tips for delivery. I give tips eating in. There are certain times when it feels a little ridiculous and redundant, like. Anyway.
Yeah, no, I hear you. You're not saying don't tip. You're saying tip, but tip with
be
reason.
Reasonable,
right. It's hard because tipping has just become a way to help people survive. It's really what's happened. It's to help people survive, and if give it if you can, and it's for people who literally have taken your order.
Mm-hmm.
And like put it in correctly.
Well, I'm pretty sure this
it's not always easy. I mean, we had a.
I'm not trying. By the way, I'm not trying to dismiss this person's work or their job or say that they should be poor. I'm just saying.
No, you just don't want to tip someone for writing something down.
Yeah. Anyway,
we've been waiting 8 months for a new front door, and it finally came today, and it was an inch too big.
No. No.
So the guy had to put the old door back. And
oh my!
I mean,
so
the state of things, and that this is how I broke my finger as I slammed it in that door. And he was saying to us, well, when this house was built, which was like, I don't know, 30 years ago, they got away with stuff back then that wouldn't fly now. Like the door is not a standard size, and it backs up to blocks, so there's no wiggle room there. Anyway, I digress, but it's hard to find good help, and
it is very difficult for people to find good help. It is true, and they blame COVID for the reason that people don't want to work. But guess what? We are 4 years removed from COVID, and people are still not signing up for jobs.
People want to be valued. No, people are working. It's just they don't. Nobody wants to be treated like shit. I mean, what a shocking revelation,
Yeah, no, that's true. That's 100% true. All right, my friends. It's been an hour. I don't even know what else to talk about. Does anyone else have anything to talk about? I'm definitely hungry. I have not eaten dinner, and I'm an hour later than you. So, anybody else?
It's not a competition, Helene.
No, I'm just an hour later than you. And I tip someone who does that cake thing. No kidding.
What's that? What'd you say?
I said I don't tip that person who took the order. No, I'm kidding.
I know that the takeaway from this is Marla said don't tip people, which is mental.
All the shade. This was missed.
This
is what I want.
Shade,
all the shade. I missed it.
Vegan street meme coming your way soon.
I did not say that, Sovereign. If I'm paying $90 for a cake, I'm already tipping.
I love you. I totally know. I totally know what you're talking about. It's okay. It's okay.
Marla's gonna explode. Marla's exploding.
I am happy to pay more if that means
Did you
that
say
the
$90?
server,
90?
the server
90
is
for a cake.
making
Yes.
living
$90.
wage.
So
$90.
how many slices did you get out of it?
A lot.
2.
Like, I'm not complaining about that. I'm fine with that. If that means
Was it a big cake? How big was the cake?
It was a chocolate cherry cake to celebrate Aquariuses on our various birthdays. So it was a bunch of. Now I'm probably saying too much, but yeah, I don't. Yes, it was.
Well, the cake was gluten free, so that increases the price right there because it's harder to make a gluten free cake. Well, it's harder to make a gluten free cake and have it taste good and have it not be too dense. And
I expected that price for the cake. That seems reasonable. There's a lot.
I bought a cake recently that was not gluten free and it was all vegan. It was a pretty big cake and it was, I think, $75.
Yeah,
might have been somewhere else. I thought we were talking about burritos, and I thought that the burritos. I wasn't didn't recognize.
I got a $90 burrito, and then they asked me to tip them.
Also, my little ones are right here staring me in the face, like, so I hear food is being mentioned. So
I know, I'm so hungry. I am so hungry.
It's always about the food.
Always. It's a gateway drug to veganism, and we can kind of like leave it that. No, but a cake, just so we're clear for people who are thinking like Marla's crazy and I'm crazy for spending that much money on a cake that was made by a vegan bakery, right?
Once a year?
No, it doesn't even matter. I don't care if it's every quarter. The effort,
I'm trying to change. I mean, yeah.
Making a cake is not easy. Like if it was easy, you would be doing. I mean, you can make a cake, but can you decorate it? Probably not. Mm-hmm. So there's effort and stuff that goes into, and bakers don't typically, when they start out, they don't typically factor in their time into their pricing. That's why they start out like really low, and they're just kind of factoring in the cost of their goods and kind of on that. But their time that it takes to do the baking, create the baking, and get it out there for you.
Great.
They when they finally get it down and they have a following, they charge what they should be charging, and people do scoff at like paying $75, $90 for a cake. Meanwhile, you have no idea. Make it yourself.
Well, if you're gonna I mean, yes, exactly. Yeah, I mean,
and what it tastes like. You just mess with your baking soda
for $5, and that's fine.
Right. You can make you can definitely make a box cake. That's like just put some like 7-Up in that box cake, and you're pretty good to go. What's going on? Ellen's got a cake in her like
$1.50 per serving. Chocolate surprise cake, and then there's a carrot cake in here that I always make for my kids' birthdays.
That is the vegans on
call me next time. I'll do it for
$4 a day. 50, and then I'll ship it for $100.
I'll bring it myself.
Then you got to factor in the tip.
That and getting there in one piece. Imagine like Ellen carrying a cake from Florida to Chicago. Like being like, I gotta balance this. You have to hold it on the flight and then hope there's no turbulence. All right.
Was the cake good?
Yeah,
was it good? Was it a good cake? Like, I want to know. Was it a good cake?
Which one?
It tastes
like the $90 cake.
Yeah. Yeah. How did it taste?
The $90 cake was awesome. It was fantastic.
Well, then it was worth it.
Yeah, it was worth every penny.
Yes.
And you probably ate it for a few days because there's only 3 of you.
Yeah, I mean, there were leftovers. We had a party. It was a celebration, and it was worth it. That was my budget for the party.
See, and that was a private bakery. I know we have to remember. Was it a private company?
Yeah,
like a private.
I mean, she has a storefront. Yeah,
a storefront. So like even like what is it? So like the kids' birthdays that passed and stuff. Like getting even a cake that is not baked. Getting a cake. Yeah, I bake. I do that. It's been difficult this time. But it's been difficult to do that. But even cakes like from Whole Foods and what they're pricey. Even small little one that we got from the cake, really pricey.
This little 8-inch thing.
Because of course, yes, the ingredients are different. So there is that. Sometimes I think it's overpriced for even like in store. Bakery, it's completely different. But if you're like setting it in your budget and you're like, I'm treating myself and this is it, and you factored that in terms of like how much you're going to spend for the cakes, you got a custom it from a storefront for $90. You can walk into some of these places, like you can go into a Whole Foods or something, or it's already pre-made. One place you can get it, it's like $30 for a small cake. I'm talking about like a saucer cake, and I was just like, and it wasn't even like handmade. It was just like ones.
Right, and like, you can make something better than that for far less money. And it will look better.
I was asked to make a cake one time, and I was asked to make a cake only because I've made cake for industry and like collaborations. So going on that factor, I had to see what's my worth, but still trying to keep it reasonable. And the labor cost was a lot of it, really. And then any additional art detailing, that's like the most expensive part of the thing. And luckily it was just like a local, but I mean, it can be so. And gluten-free cakes are horrible. Gluten-free flours are the worst to work with. They're not easy.
They're very hard.
Very hard.
We had some gluten-free pasta last night. It was made out of rice, and it said non-sticky. Such a lie.
It's a lie. It's a lie. Such a lie. Chickpea pasta, the same thing. Lie.
There's some really good. Like the Bio Nature pasta, the gluten-free pasta is delicious. That's not
Bonza doesn't stick, and that's fantastic. They're the chickpea one; they don't stick at all. I was real surprised.
Which ones? Bonza.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Bonza, is a sponsor of VegFest Expo, so let's give them a little shout out.
I even know. I'm just like, hey, I'm talking to them because I buy their products. My kids are happy; they're eating protein and beans, whatever I can get in their system. And I can't segue.
And you know what it is? Just so we're clear, the birthday cake or the cake with the celebration cake, whatever the fuck you're buying a cake for, is part of this. Is part of the celebration of whatever you're doing. So
Absolutely.
that is you budgeted for a $90 cake. Well, you budgeted to have a celebration.
Exactly. And I don't care if the rest of what we eat is like potato chips. Like that was the deal. Is
we just ate cake.
And then you do this the rest of your life.
For days. We ate cake for days.
I mean, cake is always going to be a splurge, and just going in knowing what it's going to be, that's fine,
Yeah, that cake that I got in May, like we went to the refuge and there was a potluck at the refuge and we celebrated Jeremy's birthday and like there's a lot of cake. So I was like, you're all eating cake. So, like this huge cake and not a single piece of this cake is coming home. So you're all going home. Yeah. Everyone's eating cake. There's it was just to plug, it was from Plant Cakes in Wake Forest. So which is amazing.
And you get a slice. And you get a slice.
Right, exactly. It was pretty much what it was. And Fat Fairy Fitness, just so you know that we are paying attention to you and that you like Bonza and that you want a festival in Lexington, but Oh look, Jeremy's actually watching. Look at that. It was his birthday cake. Awesome. Yeah, so so that's what cakes are for.
You guys are so hungry. I have no cake.
And you have no cake. You can go make a cake in a mug and it'll be done in 5 minutes.
I don't have a microwave, but I will make a smoothie that tastes
You can do it in the air fryer. You can make a mug cake in an air fryer.
Sovereign, what sound was that?
That sounded probably wrong. I'm like Gordon Ramsay. What? That's an air fryer. I would probably, knowing myself and not able to keep track of time lately, I would burn that thing like.
Well, doesn't your air fryer have a timer?
Okay. So it does. But I have. Well, no. Okay, so I have you guys. I don't know if I told you I did something with my ear, so I can't hear out of my left ear. I can't hear.
Tugs.
Sovereign's like this.
Yeah, I can hear like 100% out of my right ear. Right now, my left ear, because I had an accident that involved just say a toothpick and a seizure in the middle of it, and so I can only hear like maybe like 80. I'm sorry, like maybe it sounds slightly muffled. Like if I were to turn the volume up right now, you guys sound real quiet, even though it may sound louder to anyone else around. And my computer's on full volume. The kids are also with their devices. Half the time I'm just like, this is so overwhelming because it's sensory, and I will miss alarms. Like in terms of like, it has to be a super loud noise. But even if I'm like, oh, I'm standing right there, you know, neurospiciness kicks in, and I just get distracted like a squirrel, like the dog's a squirrel, and it's just I don't think lately I have to like meditate myself to listen to things like alarms. But I know myself and just getting distracted. That thing will probably like burn. I hope I didn't sound uppity. I was like, air fryer, what? Cake? Or
no, Helene was showing off because her fancy air fryer has an alarm on it.
Timer. My air fryer has a timer.
I don't have it.
I
don't have one either, Ellen. I feel I don't have one either. We are in the same boat. So yeah, okay, Miss Fancy up there, Miss Helene with the timer air fryer, ma'am.
Yeah,
her face right now is like, I hate all of you.
I'm really not sure how you live with an air fryer. I use mine like every day.
You know, I got overwhelmed with the
there we go.
choices, and they all seem to have plastic. So
yeah, you can make a cake in the Instant Pot as well. Do you have one of those?
You know what? Just make a smoothie. You know,
just make a smoothie.
That's what I live on.
The smoothie is not cake. Last time I checked.
What's an Instant
Pot?
What's an Instant Pot?
Oh boy.
Who said that?
Sovereign said that.
I wouldn't know an Instant Pot is?
I don't need you to stop waiting.
I'm super confused. You just said you don't know what the Instant Pot is? It's look it up.
I never use mine, so whatever.
I use mine weekly.
So Helene, I'm sorry, Ellen, when you drop off the cake, can you drop me off your
It'll be old school, baked in an oven. You know, old school.
I'll send you a tip, Marla. I'll ship one over to you.
Okay. 20% tip.
Marla's like
$50.
I'll take the order.
I swear, I was seeing Instant Pots that were new in the box every 5 seconds at Goodwill, like until mine broke. Now I can't. I just like. What's that?
I mean, I do use mine like every month or two.
It's
like a pressure cooker.
It is a pressure cooker.
And it does different functions.
Yeah, you can make yogurt. I make my chickpeas in there.
Perfect rice. Yeah.
Perfect rice. Right? You can make your rice for sushi as well. And it makes everything faster. Kind of like the air fryer makes everything faster. The Instant Pot makes everything faster.
You can kind of dump it in there and leave it in there. Like, what's that?
I just like to torture myself, I guess.
Well, being that you actually like are a chef, I'm surprised that you don't have those things.
Well, maybe because they enjoy the cooking process. I corrected myself.
Yeah, totally.
Thank you. I called that. Thanks, Marla, for correct. I do.
No.
I like it. Cooking itself is therapeutic. Also, it allows me to paint. Does that make sense, brain-wise, when I'm cooking?
Nice. No, that's great. It's just like if you need chickpeas made for your dish, you can make them like in 40 minutes, as opposed to like for hours on the stove. But Fat Fairy Princess is talking about plant-powered cafe in Vegas, the vegan drive-through. Yes, I know. I've been there. It's you have to have a car if you go to Las Vegas to eat there because it's it's not close to where the casinos are. But it was good. I wouldn't say I haven't gone back, and I've been to Vegas
kind of a novelty
thing. Yeah. It was okay. I mean, but the fact of the matter is that it's an all vegan place where you can drive through and get like a vegan burger and fries and like a shake and all that. It's actually
fun ones for like novelty's sake, right?
Exactly.
You guys, I have to eat dinner. We've moved from cake to fast food. Go eat.
Okay. I will close out the show. This was wonderful. Thank you so much for indulging me when I said on Monday, let's do this. Okay, let me close this out. Here we go. Bye, Marla. Bye, Ellen. Bye, Sovereign. And thank you for joining us for a very lively conversation on the vegan stew. When will we be back? I don't know. It could be December, for all I know, because 4 months went by the snap of a finger, and here we are. Thank you to Unisoy Jerky for sponsoring our lives for the month of July, and thank you for joining us. And please support, follow, notification bell, whatever you have to do for all of our social media and YouTube, and we'd really appreciate that because you just never know when you'll see us or what we're doing. Have a great night. Thanks, everyone. Bye.